Strange, but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. Have you ever been in a state of not being able to fully trust what's in front of you? Sure, our eyes sometimes play tricks on us, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about waking dreams, or a state called hypnagogic, or being between wakefulness and sleep. In the following two stories, the people involved remember vivid details from what they perceive as reality, but may or may not actually be reality. To them, it was real. But what does that reality actually mean? April 23rd, 1996 was a Tuesday. I woke up. It was morning. I looked at the clock. 5:32 a.m. At the time, I was a 23-year-old college student. I was thin, but not necessarily fit. Every morning, I'd ride to my first class, which was astronomy and space sciences. I had a blue bike, and campus was only 3 miles from my apartment, so it was a little bit of a workout. That particular morning, I didn't feel quite right. Not sick, but I just felt odd. Like something bad was going to happen. Something strange was coming my way, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. I tried to put the feeling aside as I grabbed my wallet, water bottle, and my book bag and headed out the door. I hopped on my bike and pedaled toward campus. I got to the science building where my astronomy class was held, but things looked strange. Campus looked weird. I pulled on the door to go inside, but it wouldn't open. It was locked. I checked my watch. 7:57 p.m. What? I looked up at the sky, and the sun was low in the sky, but it was in the west, about to go down below the horizon. I felt dizzy. I nearly fainted. But I pulled myself together and looked down at the watch again. 6:01 a.m. I reached for the door handle and opened it with ease. I began to freak out. I was sweating. My chest felt tight. My fingers were cold and stiff. I walked in and tried to sort my thoughts, but as I walked through the building, every step got heavier and heavier. Soon I was halfway down the hallway and I could barely lift my own feet. I checked my watch, and it was spiraling clockwise. Tuesday turned to Wednesday. Wednesday turned to Thursday, and Thursday became Friday, just like that. For a brief moment, I was laying down in an ivory-colored cylinder, like a pod. I blinked and I was standing inside the classroom, and people were walking around me. Some people gasped when they saw me. Wait, when did you get here? Or, I saw him just appear. Or, he was there the whole time, right? I blinked and I was back in the pod again, only something was carrying me across this huge dome. I saw an endless number of them. Someone opened my pod. It looked like an ordinary human. His body and face and hair were perfect. His eyes were the perfect width apart. His jaw, everything was perfectly proportioned, as if he had been manufactured. He smiled and looked at me.
Glitch number 692134-187329 has been recovered. Request for redocking.
He spoke, though he wasn't speaking to me. Permission granted. Restoring glitch number 692134-187329's pre-recorded date of Tuesday, 5:32 a.m., April 23rd, 1996, Earth, said a voice over an intercom. The pod cover was replaced, and I was pushed back into the dark cylinder. Next thing I knew, I was in my bed. I woke up and took a look at the clock. 5:32 a.m., Tuesday, April 23rd. Am I a glitch that's still glitching? Because I remember being a glitch. Maybe we are all just in a simulation. Maybe this was proof of the multiverse. Have you ever felt like you're awake, but you're really not? Like you go through your morning, or even a longer part of your day, and then wake up and realize you were dreaming. But now, you're sure you're awake. And yet, you're not. And you repeat. It's a common enough trope that has been done brilliantly by authors like Neil Gaiman in his Sandman comic series. Anyway, it's a trope because it does happen to people. A lot of people. It certainly has happened to me several times in my lifetime. Usually in my third or fourth iteration, I wind up talking to someone about how I've had 3 false awakenings, and we joke about how I might still be dreaming. Then I do a reality check, like you do when you want to go lucid dreaming, and it tells me I'm in reality. And I'm not, but I don't find out for a while. Anyway, last night I had, or well, maybe it was this morning, I had a bout of false awakenings that was the longest I can ever remember. It has to have been in the double digits. That, on its own, wouldn't be enough to be glitch-worthy. No, it's what happened after I was aware that I was false waking. I started to struggle, actively struggle to wake up. I started not trusting the reality around me, and I kept shaking my head, probing my memory, randomly reality testing, going online and trying random websites, sending messages to people I don't normally talk to. It was like I was testing the limits of a holodeck program or something like that, trying to find the errors in an imperfect simulation. And that's when I started hearing the voices. It started like bleed through. Like there was a video playing on my laptop and I was asleep beside it, but the sound was leaking into my dreams. I could hear voices, some of them asking questions, and I tried to shout out to them, but they couldn't hear me. That's exactly what it would be like if I was listening to a podcast in my sleep. They can't hear me, obviously. It's a recording. Anyway, the voices were saying things like, "We've tried everything. He's not going down. He's waking up. That's not possible. Get Talbot down here." The name Talbot stood out to me for some reason. I don't know a Talbot in real life. There's the fictional Glenn Talbot from the Hulk comics, but I knew that wasn't it. Anyway, I started to freak out, and the next false waking was not in my bedroom. It's dark. I'm on a gurney, or a trolley being wheeled somewhere, or maybe carried, and I can barely see. Things are very blurry. But there are people around me. Shapes. The words were coming from those shapes. I tried to sit up or move my limbs. No good. Then someone noticed I was awake, and they freaked out. And then blackness, and I was back in my bed and bedroom, waking up again. But there's a problem. It's like I'm lucid dreaming, but the dream hasn't coalesced into the hyper-vividness that lucid dreams usually have. The closest thing I can describe it as, it's like I was walking through a movie where they want to tell the viewer it's a dream. Perspective was off. Walls were blurry. The distance was an imperfect blur. I was scared, but I laughed out loud and said, "That's not even remotely convincing." And I picked up my laptop and flung it against the wall. My emotions were all over the place, terrified that I'd wake up and find my laptop smashed, or the blurriness would go away and I would be the crazy guy with a broken laptop. Instead, It was like pause in a video game. The laptop in the process of hitting the wall, frozen in midair. Then I'm back on the trolley/gurney. Except now it's mega bright, and there's a voice, a man's voice, saying a lot of words I don't know, but a few stick out. Simulation, interregnum, psychic. And then I hear slurred words coming out of my own mouth. Talbot, you son of a bitch. I can't remember ever calling someone a son of a bitch. My swearing is much more of the crude and wordy type. Son of a bitch isn't my go-to insult. Also, it didn't sound like my voice, slurred speech notwithstanding. I don't remember anything after that. I'm almost certain there was something to remember after that, but it's a blank. The next thing in my memory is waking up very slowly this morning and hitting snooze on my alarm. And then the morning's events came back to me very slowly. Looking around the room, I knew this was reality. I knew it. I couldn't believe any of the dreams ever fooled me for a second, because none of them had the quality of this. Reality. And yet, I am compelled, for no rational reason I can explain, to shout and type in case someone, somehow, somewhere hears it. Talbot, get me out of here! This has been another strange but true stories. Have you ever had glitches or waking dreams in your life that you can't quite explain? We'd love to hear about them. Send your experience to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Tell us what you thought of these stories in the comments below. And if you like, tap the subscribe button. We continue to feel incredibly grateful for all the support from our subscribers. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.